Here I am. Welcome to my sandwich.
I like the guy who rips his face off. Realistic, but with.
Wow, okay, nobody's here. Here, stick with me. Really cool.
I like. I like the guy who rips his face off. Realistic, but with.
Damn, I keep warping the wrong side.
Gonna decorate my island house. Gonna be best friends with a mouse. Gonna bake you out on my island. On my island. Yes, my boyfriend is laughing at me.
I like the guy who rips his face off. Realistic, but with.
Damn, I keep warping the wrong side.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Veil, everyone. Callie, thank you for the continued support. I don't know why the alert didn't go off, but thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know if it's because you're continuing a gift sub or what, but also look, there's a Pigby in here. There's a Pigby in here. She decided to stay and she hasn't gotten up yet. We'll see how long she puts it through. Welcome in, early crew. Hello, everyone. Yeah, she hasn't left. I even told her I was going live, and I clacked the fan, and I did the hello, hello, hello. And she didn't run away. Look at her. She's so precious. She's not really supposed to get this kind of treat, but since this is a special occasion... Miss Pig, you want a treat? She's so sweet. Pigby is the more gentle of the two, believe it or not. Bless. Think of the puppy tweets. Ah! You're so cute. I am wearing my new merch from the concert we went to. My Rather Kylie merch. Alright, let me get caught up on chat. Amy with the first. Hello. Di, enjoy your lurk. Callie, hello. Thank you for your daily thwarps. Tim, thank you for the tab. I hope you're doing well, friendo. We're almost to the week, kind of. Callie, that clip was amazing. That clip was absolutely amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that clip before. You know, I don't know that I've seen that one before either. And hello, it's true. You were always first in my heart, Anne. Hi, Anne. Hello, hookers. Wow. Hi, Caleb. Welcome in. How are we today? Oh, there it is. She's over it. She's going to start barking at me. Yes. Okay. There it is. There it is. Come on. You stayed longer than I expected you to. You go, baby. I'll see you in a little bit. Now I'm going to turn off the main cam just to walk right in front of the puppy cam anyway. Today we are playing two sponsored indie horror games. The first is Shieven by Velicron Innovations. The Crypt community has a section in their Discord for devs to partner with us. And so they gave us several keys. The Crypt community got several keys of Shieven, and I'm excited to play it. I do believe the dev will be stopping in at some point today. Unless he is busy. And then we're also going to be playing Herror Gas Station Case. Herror is going to be an anthology series where every story is about a different haunting. And chapter 1 is in a gas station. And I'm excited for that one as well. That one is just a demo. I believe it's only 30 to 45 minutes long. Just to give everyone an idea of what the game is going to look like when it officially releases. Whereas Shieven is the full game. It's $5 on Steam. It's Velicron Innovations' first game, as far as I understand. And so we'll take a look at it. Callie, thank you for the continued support again. What? Yeah, I know. I was surprised she lasted as long as she did. How was the concert? Amazing. We'll chat about it. Maybe I should have set up VoiceMod again. Maybe you should. I still technically have it. VoiceMod just sometimes it was a bigger pain in the butt than what I actually got out of it. We're going to move straight into talking about the concert and then straight into the game because I do want to make sure that we get all the way through Shieven. I want to make sure that we don't have to do more than one sponsored stream this week. Aria. Don't chew your paws. And it's called the Moulin Rouge. All right, let's do it. Hello? Window capture? There we go. So this is me and my Jenny Lewis merch. This is a Jenny Lewis merch that I got the last time I saw her live in front of the theater where we were and where it has Rilo Kiley's name. So for those of you that don't know, Jenny Lewis has had a really amazing solo career, but she got her start in the band Rilo Kiley, and they have not been together in concert for 17 years. And so everyone was really, really, really excited about this concert and them getting back together. Caleb took these photos for me and was very annoyed. This was just another photo. Is the music volume okay? Because it's like screaming in my ears, but I think it's normal for you all. Another just of the marquee. This is inside the theater. They had all these like quirky statues. This was their lamp was an eye. I don't know. I took a picture of it because I thought it was neat. Sounds good, okay. Why did they break up? What is the drama? There is no drama. I think they just decided that they were going to work on their own projects, and then the other folks in the band were not quite as successful as Jenny was. But Jenny and another person in the band were living in Nashville together, and Jenny's really short, and so she called him over to help fix a light bulb in her home. And he said, so have you ever thought about a Kylie reunion? And she said, maybe. And then they just planned it then and there. And now they're back together. This was the band that came out before them. I had never heard of them. They were fun. There was clearly a lot of the Faint fans there, because there were people who were, like with Shieven, they were the first riffs of their favorite Faint song, and people definitely singing along with the lyrics. I didn't know the Faint, but they were lovely. If Biggie was here, I would say there was definitely a bunch of white folks catching a vibe. Wait, was there drama? I really don't know that there wasn't. I don't believe that there was. I thought they just decided to work on independent projects, and that Jenny was just like really successful at that. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. There's Jenny. Jenny and I have chatted on Twitter before. She once said, "You're really funny," when I responded to something that she said on Twitter. So we're basically BFFs. And she's lovely. And before anyone comes for me, what I'm showing you is the only time I had my phone out during the concert were for these pics and these few videos that I'll show. I really wasn't horribly on my phone. In fact, I would go most songs without pulling my phone up at all. The only time I took videos was when, like, one of my favorite parts of the song was going to happen from one of my favorite songs. The concert was 3 hours, and this is all I have to show for it. So I think that's pretty decent of me, if I'm being honest. It's that damn foam. She was absolutely going mad on the guitar here. Look at her concentrated face. And it was also pink and blue lights. So obviously I lived. Okay. Let me turn off Spotify. I said before anyone comes to me, and Anne was like, I'm going to do it anyway. Let me know if you can hear this and if it's loud enough. She's so talented. I can never do this. She's so lovely. You don't have to do the opposite of what I'm told. I know how you are. I usually take short videos of my favorite songs only because I have a crap memory due to my health issues and it helps me remember. But I'm not one for having my phone out constantly. She can sing. She's really, really talented. I wanted to grab her doing that high note because I knew it was coming. And I actually that's one of my favorite songs that she does too. So I was really excited that it was on her set list. There's a song that I'll play a snippet of here in a minute called Breaking Up, which Willem, famous drag queen, was actually the cover art for one of their remixes. So Jenny and Willem are friends. But I was reading reviews of the reunion tour early, like before we went, and people were like, the only song I wish I would have heard, like, they were like, Jenny's magical. She sounds just as good as the day she recorded these songs, because these songs are from like their first few albums, a lot of them. The only song I wish I would do is Breaking Up, and they did Breaking Up in Nashville when they haven't done it on any other leg of the tour yet. And so we were very excited. I cried twice during the concert. I cry really easily at concerts. I don't know why. Some of Jenny's songs are more emotional too, and a little less like upbeat poppy. So I cried twice. I think Caleb cried too. So, you know. Let's see. Yeah, this guy right in front of us. I just wanted to hear you say it's a hit. It's an iconic. A lot of her merch says like it's a hit on it. Oh yes, and so she also has a song called Portions for Foxes, which is really iconic. This guy was really into it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Silver Lining, this song is iconic. It's one of her most famous. She wore a very short skirt, or very short dress. I was so scared whenever the camera was panned up at her. It was general admission, so we weren't the first there because we had to drive several hours to the Cancer Crazy Upshot. And I know. The thing is, she's the person who put the camera where the shot was, though. She would literally set it up. And I was like, brave, I wouldn't. We had to drive several hours, so we were by no means the first there, but we were pretty close to the stage. Another, just a photo from so some of these photos are also taken as stills from the videos I took, and so that's where this came from. So this guy, he sings a lot too from their earlier albums. He was actually really funny. I can't remember his name though. Oh yes, of course. Oh shit, you can hear me singing in this video. Do not perceive. Oh my god, I'm kind of embarrassed. Hi, Kong. I could hear my voice so clearly in this clip. It was me. I not actually chose the camera. 1000%. She never did. Thank you for your daily torpy, Kong. I love that song, Callie. It's a good one. It is a good one. I think about you often when I listen to Portions for Foxes for several reasons. Because you're also a fan and because Foxes. I can't believe. Oh my voice is very audible in that. So we're not gonna replay that one. I can hear myself in this one too, but not nearly as obviously. Thank you for the shout out for Kong. Kong, I hope your week is treating you kindly. We love the harmonies. Sure. Portions for Foxes. So this is the third time I've seen her perform live. She's been great every single time. Just another still from Portions for Foxes. Yes, breaking up. Hi, Coke. So this is a song that she only did in Nashville and she didn't do any other leg of the tour. Rilo Kiley. I really appreciate them. I really enjoy them. This is the merch from the... I had to get this merch because there's a chance that they're never going to tour again. There's a Tropius in chat. That's my friend Craig's favorite Pokemon. But yeah, so for 3 hours, this is all I took. I think that's pretty decent. All things considered, I think that's pretty decent. But it was an absolute blast. It was a great time. It was worth the very long trip that we took to see them. A lot of those songs she doesn't do when she tours solo, so it felt special. They're actually going to be in San Diego the same weekend that I am, which is really, really crazy. Okay, we're going to jump straight into the game because, like I said earlier, I really want to make sure that we get through Shieven. I think we absolutely should. I don't think there will be an issue getting through it in one stream, but I'd rather not have to do a whole bunch of sponsored streams. I'd rather get it done. I wasn't even born when Portions for Foxes came out. Yeah, that tracks because I don't think they haven't toured together for 17 years. I mean, they're showing Ellie and Tuesday, so we're missing out on once a year friends hangs to go to the concert. Unless other people want to go with us, because I would go back. I would definitely go back. But I think you and I and Caleb are the only like true fans of Rilo Kiley. Even though I would love to make everyone else learn about them as well. I don't know if anyone else cares. No, literally, exactly. Gigi's on the catch, Amy. Tropius is a cool little Pokemon. I like Tropius. Okay. These are indie horror games. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if there's a bunch of trigger warnings or not. Ben knows them, but wasn't a huge fan. I don't know if anyone in the Discord responded to me. Not that I saw. A lot of people know Rilo Kiley because one of their songs premiered on either the first or second season. One of the early seasons, I think the first season of Grey's Anatomy, is kind of where a lot of people are like, I know them because of Grey's Anatomy. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. That's valid. They were on Grey's Anatomy. Okay, let's do it. I'm excited. It was the pilot? Okay, yeah. I've never seen a single episode of that show. I stopped watching after season 2, but I don't want to fight with Amy. I don't want to fight with Amy today. My favorite... So, it says flashing lights, but one of the things I like about this, they have an epileptic mode so that you can turn off the flashing lights. And I quite think that's really, really nice. I turned the game up just a little bit because while it needs to be dark and atmospheric, we also want to make sure that you all can see everything that's going on. So yeah. It's set in a hospital, I know that much. Oh yeah, I just saw Kylie's comment again. My favorite storyline was in season 2, and I hated how they ended it, and so I refused to watch anything past it. But Amy disagrees with that storyline even being good. You've just entered in an abandoned territory to investigate what happened there in the past. Watch your step and find what happened in the Luminora Hospital. Chapter 1, Abyss. Chapter 2 of this game is up on Kickstarter now, is my understanding as well. Are you sure? If you make a new game, all progress will be deleted immediately. I haven't actually started a game. Oh!
Talking about hospitals, the famous Luminora Hospital, well known for the large number of patients who have fought cancer there, it has now been closed due to a dangerous gas leak. That is what the founder, Harvey Orson, said in an interview yesterday.
Okay, gas leak.
The people that were there didn't seem to have smelled anything when the alarms went off. Even though some gases don't have odor, most of them do to protection. And now the case is on investigation due to some children that went missing this week. And the last time that their friends or parents have seen their little ones was nearby the hospital. Harvey Orson said he has nothing to do with the case, but even though it is still suspicious, more news about the topic probably...
Okay. I've seen every episode, I know. I never finished Grey's because I have a phobia of people being in relationships at the workplace. That's a kind of an interesting phobia, but also a valid one, Anne. I can't blame you for that. So the voices were quieter than the static, which is why I didn't turn up the voices. And then the loading screen was also quite loud. But this hospital... is now closed. The owner said because of a gas leak. But then family members said that several of their kids went missing around the hospital. My understanding of the game, and we might get lore of it, is I'm a journalist, a freelance journalist, who really needs to get a hit story because the bills are piling up. And so we decide to go and investigate the hospital in an attempt to make good money. Can we just leave? Wait, how do I actually flash the... Pay attention to everything, okay? I've also seen every episode of House and ER, and I'm basically a qualified doctor at this point. I would trust you with my life. I would trust you with my life. Okay, it's locked. How do I... Use camera as R, okay. Oh, I see. Oh, you can only use it every so often. Okay. I see. Find a way to restore the power. Okay, there's an upstairs here. There's something here. What is this? Hello? Hi, Brad. Hi. Have you seen the pit? The pit looks quite good. It got a lot of award buzz. Hi, Brad. Can we get a shout out for Brad? Hi, lovely. Thank you for the biddies. I appreciate you. Even if you did scare me. I thought someone was knocking in the hospital legitimately. Oh, we can't use that because there's no power. Duh. Okay. I'm smart. I know how things work. Okay, this gate is closed. Oh. Okay, I guess we can jump. Can we jump over this? Oh, we don't need to jump over the reception desk. We can just go through. Oh, this is an electrical room. I'm assuming I can turn the power on if I go there. We can't interact with this, right? No. Okay, so we need to find a key to get into the electrical room. I haven't heard of it. Might not have made its way over here yet. It was weird. It got released like really quickly. I guess we can go upstairs then. Really quickly, and then almost immediately got a lot of like hype, but I haven't watched it yet. I think, isn't it all set in one day? Like the whole show, it just is the course of one day. Okay. This is fine. Employees only. Is 3B open? No. Ooh, okay. I'm fine. I'm not scared. Here's a key. That door's locked. Electricity room key. Okay. So, I'm assuming... Oops. That we just need to go back downstairs and use that key on that door down there then? Party. Hi, Dan. Hi, Caleb. Nice cock. Finally. Hi, John. We don't have HBO either.
I like the guy who
Really? I watch our streaming services, so no HBO. It's a 12-hour shift. Yeah, that's right. Nice cock. I wish I had the sound alert that John has. Hi, John. Everyone follow John if you aren't already. And John is streaming again. Wait, huh? Oh, here are the stairs. What is it? This one? It is. Okay, so I didn't have to use it. If you have it, you can just open the door, it looks like. It sounds like there's someone in here with me, but it might be my own footsteps, but it's freaking me out. Okay, so again, the work stat. I googled it. It said you are getting HBO in October. September's almost over, and then I could quit for 2 years again. Not for 2 years. Just take it a little easier, maybe. Just take it a little easier, maybe. Hi, everyone. Hope your weeks have been treating you well. We are close to the end of the week. Today actually kind of felt like Friday for some reason. Locked. Looks like we can crouch through here, though. Okay, I see a red wire, a green wire, and a yellow wire. Is about to be a puzzle. No, something's definitely in here with me. Because I didn't open a door, and I just heard a door opening. On. Not stable. Looks stable enough to me. Red. No? No? Okay. Oh! I'm fine. I'm fine. That was fine. 30 streams of September 2 years back as remembered. Please. Listen, John isn't streaming every day, and that is absolute madness. Can we use this now that the power is on? Indeed. What did that do? Hello? The HBO Max app will become available in UK and Ireland September and October, according to my 2-second Google search. So basically, it's absolutely happening. If it's on the internet, it's true. Oh, that opened the door. I can't close the door behind me? Okay. I guess we just go through? There was other locked doors back there that we never got through. Ah! Stop it. Hi, Sebby. How are you? Can we get a / shout out, please? What scared you? The CEO's scream alert. Whenever a CEO comes in, it makes a scary sound. Sebby also plays a lot of horror games. Scared the crap out of me. It's on Reddit, so it must be a fact. Absolutely. Thank you for the lurk. I hope you saw how much you scared me. Yeah, guys, thanks for all the money. Quits. Yeah, John had a really successful September. Just pulled in, reminiscing out front of the box that holds the garden hose. I'm in love with this cat. Bless him. Why is he out in the front yard like that? If we have to pay for it, we won't get it. We already paid for all of these other things. Yeah, it's basically just, it's just a cable package at this point, honestly. You didn't hear the scream? Hi, Brett. Thank you for the 10 biddies. I was looking at the screen, so I saw it pop up before the scream happened. I'm sorry. Okay, it looks like we can go through there. What is this? Hello? Oh, yeah, it's a hospital. There's a lot of them, though. Sir, can I interact with any of this? Doesn't look like it. Is this door locked? It is. Okay. So we'll crawl through. Hi, Brad. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome in. I hope your week is treating you kindly. Hi, Brad. John, Dan. I was shouting at stoplights, but I'm home now. Yes. With Romy the cat. The detailing on all of the assets looks quite nice. In my opinion. Brad, how are you? Welcome in. Okay, I need to fix that, that doesn't pop up. Who are we? We're journalists trying to find out what happened at this hospital. I'm fine, a little tired, hope you're well too. I am also a little tired today. I am also struggling with the sleepy. But we're out here, we're vibing. We have 2 sponsored streams today. Is it a sexy hospital? No. I'm going to go ahead and say absolutely not. Absolutely not sexy from any account that I can tell yet. Oh! We're somewhat poorly nosy, basically. What was that? Objective, restore the power. Oh, the power is cut again. I just restored the power. Hello? Okay, this is a dead end as far as I can tell. 2 sponsors, 1 stream, and not even a jar to be... That's not true. I have a jar right here. I have a jar right here. I can't even lie. I can only go to sexy hospitals because I'm hot. It's true. It's true. A journalist even knows of the news and heals to grab them. Indeed. Yeah, my understanding is that the owner told everyone that the hospital was closing because of a gas leak, but then several children from the hospital went missing. And so our journalist is a freelance journalist. He's down on his luck and he's trying to get a hit story. Hi, Karen. How are you? Welcome in.
You're the winner of this.
Thank you for your daily floor.
Thank you so much. I really
enjoy your lurk. I appreciate it. And Beth, thank you for the continued support. Hello. We're Lotto winners. Yes. Honestly, work. Thank you for your daily, Beth. Can we get an exclamation Beth in chat, please? Is that blood on the ceiling? I think it is. Looks like blood. Everything's so scary and loud. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, restoring the power. Restoring the power again. Mark my words, the name game will start soon. Mark my words, the name game will soon start playing on full blast. The name game? Oh. Beth, I hope your week is going well as well. Are you at home? I hope you're not in the stinky office. There's lights over there. So what's gonna try to kill me in this hospital? What's gonna try to chase me, hurt me? Oh, these walls have had better days. Did that work? It did. Okay, that door is locked though. Okay. Do we just backtrack? Anything in these lockers? No. Okay. Party? High voltage. I can't interact with it though. Am I supposed to go back up? Me? What's you? You're in here with me? You're scaring me? Oh! What? Stop that! The gate lifted. Okay. We restored the power. That gate lifted. Okay, cool. I think we're going the right direction then. Oh! Thank you for the Beth command.
Oh, how do we feel now, Beth?
How do we feel now, Beth? Oh! Can we not? Is there something in the vents? It sounds like there's something in the vents. Okay. Nothing? Wonder what the camera's for then. Like overall. So far it has not been super useful. Oh, everything's locked. Oh, do we go into the vent? Oh, see though, I don't like that because I thought I heard something in the vent. Oh, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. We definitely heard something in this vent. Mm-mm. No. I would never fit a vent with my ass. Same. Every time I see people crawl through vents, like in a show or something, I'm like, I would never. I could never. Oh! What was that? I'm just skirting around with your tiny coochie. With your tiny coochie up in the vent. Is that just a fan? Yes, okay. God forbid it grows. Oh! Freaking hobbies. I failed. I failed. I don't think that would have scared me if I'd been looking at the screen instead of chat. I was looking at chat when I, like, out of the corner of my eye saw the falling but heard the sound. I think maybe if I was watching the screen, it wouldn't have gotten me. Okay. Can we just... Looks like we can go this way, or we can go up the stairs. Elevator, stairway 2, emergency exit, storage. No re-entries. Okay. Hello? That's my favorite scary movie. We watched The Long Walk the other day, y'all, and that is a hard watch. That is a hard film to watch. Ooh, we got more blood. This is a dead end. Looks like a dead end. I guess we go upstairs then. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty. Take a picture of it. For posterity's sake. Oh gosh, I keep hitting the wrong button for the camera. There we go. Calling it to a vent after my breast augmentation? No way. You and Anne don't have the same hobbies then? It doesn't sound like. Only one of you crawls through vents. And you can come live in my vents for free. Out of service. Well, yes. It looks out of service. Oh, and we have fallen again. Hello? Was I supposed to fall? Thank you for the spinning. Oh my gosh, dude, you're gonna have to get up. I'm alive, thank you very much. I just, have no working arms anymore. What does that say? Cargo bay? Okay, what is this? Red. Okay. Do we go through here? No. Do we go up the ladder? Where am I supposed to go? Does this need to be connected to something? Nothing down there that I can see. Oh, I see. There's a hole in the wall. Okay. There we go. I'm passed out. I don't have a passed out command. It's okay. You can want me. Oh, hello. Oh, we're loading. Okay. So we made it through the first part of the hospital then? Your flashlight broke because of the fall. Use your camera flash to see in the darkness. No! Not my trusty flashlight. Also, flashlight, not torch. No British detected. Objective, explore your surroundings. Well, yes. Was this them? A locked door, the 5? Okay. Another locked door. I'm probably gonna have to end up taking notes on this, aren't I? Trusty flashlight. Yeah, it's never gotten me in trouble before. It's always welcoming and doesn't complain. Can't interact with this, so there's a bunch of colors and buttons there. Okay. Anything? Look at all these briefcases. So many briefcases. What's this then? Oh, some of these are still working. Did we do it? I guess we did. I can't interact with it anymore. If you can't trust your flashlight, who can you trust? I haven't seen The Long Walk, but I saw David Johnson's getting praised for his performance. The actors in it, the way it's shot, the way it's directed, it is technically a gorgeous and well-created film, but it is hard to watch. And I am a person, I've watched so many horror films, played so many horror games. If it doesn't involve the eye, nothing makes me squeamish, but I had to look away from the screen a couple of times during The Long Walk. It was a hard watch. Although, say because your fire's immaculate, I must go to sleep. I have to catch my lovely stream. No worries, Brat. It's driving me crazy. I know you have to go to bed, but I recognize your username from another community. And if you know what community is, feel free to let me know because I am blinking. Hi, Spooky. Can we get a shot for Spooky? If you don't know Spooky, Spooky is one of the kindest people I've ever met. In real life and online. But, plays a lot of community games, a lot of Mario Kart, things like that with viewers. Really good gamer too. Why are they walking? So basically it's a dystopian future that sounds a lot like ours now, where people are in such financial stress that they allow 16 to 18-year-old kids to sign up for something called the Long Walk, and basically they walk until there's only one kid standing, and they get more money than they could ever need, millions of dollars, and one wish. They get one wish answered. They have to walk above 3 miles per hour, or they get a warning, and if you get 3 warnings in an hour, they kill you. It's like Hunger Games, honestly. Since Hunger Games also had young people in it. But the kills were very graphic. The Long Walk gave the same vibes as Rubber. Which one's Rubber, Spooky? Did this open a door now? It did. It opened more than one door. Okay. What the killer I thought so. How are they similar? That's what I thought you were talking about. I'm curious as to how they're similar. Fang! Oh my gosh, yes! And Fang raided the other day. Fang is lovely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate you. It was driving me crazy. I was like, I know we've chatted. But my brain is mush today. I appreciate it. Yeah, we raided Fang the other day, and Fang came in when I was playing Grey Hill Incident, because Fang likes to watch people play that game and watch their suffering. Okay, I hope you get some good rest. I appreciate the answer. Hazardous material storage. I don't see anything. Was there supposed to be something in there? It stayed open. Oh no, now it's closed again. Oh, so it opens when you get near it. Okay. Okay, I don't understand yet what I'm supposed to do with that. Not a lot goes on, and also the locals. The locals, yeah, for sure. Fang usually enjoys watching people suffer, but yes, Ian, no worries, no worries. I appreciate you. They sound fantastic. Everyone follow Fangphobia if you aren't already. A lovely member of the Fruities with me. It honestly, very, very funny. My favorite Fang stream recently was they did Euro Truck Simulator, which it takes a very warning. Gas must be worn near the area. Ear protection should be worn. Wear gloves. And that's where I realized now too. Brad and I were chatting a lot, giving Fang a lot of grief for how they play Euro Truck Simulator. But it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was so funny. Description, please. From Darren Berg's Department of Engineering, there's a current power delivery issue affecting the grid doors in Water Treatment Area 1. As a result, the doors are not functioning and employees are unable to pass. The doors remain closed and the only workaround at the moment is manually entering the code on the nearby staircase keypad. For those addressing the issue, please observe the flickering pattern of each door number closely. The flickering rate changes from fast to slow. Match the pattern on the keyboard to input the correct code. Once the correct code is entered, all doors in the area will unlock. Okay. Is there anything? Can I? It's not letting me keep climbing. Oh, grid door. Okay. Observe the blinking lights. The guy in Logwalk is 32. I thought he was my age, young. There's a mischievous in chat if anyone needs one or like to catch one. I've seen him act in a couple of things. He's really, really talented. I like him a lot. Wait, what? This is blinking fast? I would say that's a lot of blinks. What's the number on it, though? That's way too... I can't read it. Is it 1? So wait, hold on. Five is blinking slowly. This is... Yeah, this says 4. But it's not blinking at all. Does that mean 4 is the last number in the thing? And 5 is also pretty slow. 3 is... I don't know, also slow. 2 is... quick. But not as quick as... But not as quick as this one. This one's the quickest, and I think it's 1. So I'm gonna put 1 first and 4 last. And then 2 also seems... Yeah, 2 also seems really slow. 3 seems kind of normal. Where's 5? There's 5, okay. Oh! This explains why I caught 2 shinies in stream last week. Let's go. I died. I fell. I fell. 5 seemed maybe a little bit slower than 3, but definitely faster than the others.
Oh, man.
I'm all the way back here? Frick. Okay. It's fine. There were no jump scares. This is just in order. If it even matters. Okay. Thank you for the rip. That does explain why you're catching so many shinies, though. Makes a lot more sense now. Congratulations, though. Enjoy it. Get all the shinies. Okay. Okay, I wrote it down. We are going to try... Oops. Is it... Okay. 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I am so smart. This is what gave me the instructions, right? Yes. I've never done anything dumb in my life. No dingus energy here. No himbo energy. Pure brilliance. Ah! Why did that happen? Please don't do that again. That was very scary. Wait, how do I get out of here? Oh, there we go. And I'm assuming we crawl through here. Thank you for the GGs. Oh gosh, I can't see at all. Oh, there's a lot of blood in here. What the heck? Should have been home? What does that say? Coom? It's like a conveyor belt thing up there. You should have been gone. You should have been gone. Okay. This is way too nosy for me. I mean, I would have turned around a long time ago. I would have turned around a long time ago. Or I just would have taken the first few shots and then made up a story and still gotten paid. We live in a world where my story doesn't even have to be true. As long as it sells, you know? Did he graduate as soon to come loudly? I think he did, Dan. I think he did. Bad handwriting. The handwriting was bad, but my handwriting's terrible. Very, very legitimately bad, so I'm not going to say anything about it. Bless that person's heart. Plus, I think they were dying when they wrote it, just given the nature that there's a giant, Nothing in that corner. Ear protection should be worn. Good thing I have my headphones. Oh, the big giant blood splatter makes me think that he was not doing very well when he wrote it. Wear gloves? No, you don't tell me what to do. Oh! What is that thing? Save yourself by taking a picture of the creature. Okay. Well, we finally saw what was causing all the blood. Oh, is this a dead body? No, that is just gravel. So at this point, definitely turn the hell around. Like, what do you mean? Why are you still in here after seeing a giant bloody creature? Look at all this blood! Like, my guy, just leave. Does this mean to take a picture of it? Wait, can I go? I can't go through there. No, I can't? It opened a little bit, but not all the way. I'm confused. This gives me a down arrow, but this gives me an arrow pointing towards that. Yeah, that scared me too, Ian. Is that Aaron? No, it is not. Who are you speaking of? That's just a gas leak. Hi, Skiddo. Thank you for your Thwarpy. Can we get a shout out for Skiddo, of course? How are you, friendo? Welcome in. I hope your week is treating you nicely. I am excited for the week to be over. Actually, I'm really excited for payday. I'm really excited for next week's payday. Yeah. Paying bills and mortgage on the same check was a mistake. Please move. Thank you. What is this then? FBI warning? Week has been. That's about the best of it. Emergency procedures for breach containment. Honestly, kind of same, Skiddo. Epoch's Dynamics. Powered by Luminora Company. Today's tape, how to act in a containment breach. Step 1. Find the nearest exit and get the hell out of here and never come back. If you don't find one, follow the exit signs that should be on the ceiling around all of the facility. Step 2. If you're still in a facility without any exit nearby, find a hiding spot and don't make any noise that could reveal your position. Okay? Step 3. If you're still in the facility, like in the previous step, you can find a security flashlight device. This device is used to repel the experiments with its light and sound. When used, it emits a big flash and a loud sound. Step 4. Not save, not save, not save. Save 7? You skipped a lot of 7s. Contact the Spitteers. Do not contact the authorities. We saw this stuff shown in the video. So they were doing experiments. They created that thing that's killing everyone then. Got it. Ugh, what? Hello? Oh, that's a device that was in the video. But payday is today, so we are vibing. Okay, I see. Perfect. Hi, Pyro! Hello! Thank you for that follow. Welcome to the Veil. I don't usually shout out followers, but if I remember correctly from Radical Stream, you are Dev, right? Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. You missed us screaming at the first sight of the creature. I hope you're doing well, though. Thank you for letting us play your game. Oh, am I supposed to use this? Aha, I see. It looks like the symbol. I am having fun! Oh, we're having a lot of fun. I hope your week is treating you well. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for working with the Crypt stream team and Crypt community. We really appreciate it. Okay, so I still use R to use the camera. Okay, so I think this device will scare the monster. Why is it getting dark? Is it just loading? Okay. I got nervous. I got nervous for a second. I think we're making pretty good progress as well. Callie says, we're having so much fun. Thanks for letting us see your game and for stopping by. Indeed. Thank you, Callie. I do think you may have come in on an poopy time, though. I think we've been live for about an hour, which means pre-roll ads will be on soon. So we'll have to run ads in a couple of minutes to get pre-roll ads off. Center. Okay. Objective, find a way to turn on the power. Okay. Ooh. Labs, offices, containment, storages. We really like how the game looks. Like, all of the assets are really, really unique and really, really pretty. The game is gorgeous. 47. Is this a clue? We like the creature. The creature scared the absolute poop out of us earlier. I like the spider web. There's just like a lot of nice details in the surroundings as well. Restore power. Okay, right. Are you locked? You are not. I'm so scared now of the creature, though. Oh, okay. We have green power lights here. They're going in several different directions. Is the store locked? It is not. What is this then? Oh, it's just heat. It's just heat. Yeah, I gotta run ads soon. Indeed. I'm so sorry, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and do that. I know what most of you know, but we run 3 minutes of ads once an hour to get pre-rolls off. If someone comes in and we haven't run those 3 minutes of ads, then that means they get immediately hit with ads upon coming into the stream. And then that way they don't really get a chance to realize if they vibe with us or not, because most of the people aren't going to sit through 3 minutes of ads just to meet a streamer for the first time. And so we have to run these. I apologize. If I didn't have to, I legitimately wouldn't. But if you are subbed, you will see a few minutes of random clips. I appreciate you all hanging through them. I do, and I will see you all in just a couple minutes. It's a great chance for you all to get up, get something to eat or drink, stretch, do all of those things. Use the restroom. Use the toilet if you need to. All right. BRB, everyone. My sleeve out of whack. I'm pretty sure that's the JoJo dance, and if it wasn't perfect, I want to hear nothing about it. The server was missing a leg. I was so confused how the tortoise was gaining on it. Doing that butt fucking ugly dance move, I would imagine. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you guys knew this, but she created gay pop. Oh my god, where am I even going? Turn the hell around! Oh my god. There we go. Oh! I don't know if you saw that, but I accidentally rammed the cart into the thing. And they went flying off, but they happened to land in the right spot, and so it counted.
Isn't he a good boy? Good boy. Am I the goodest boy? Am I the goodest boy? Am I?
Okay. Goo. Deposit goo. Turn my crank. It all sounds kind of dirty. There's gonna be a jump scare. Oh! What the fuck is that? What that mustache do? Is there a crouch? Oh. He started to crouch. Wait, did you see that? That was weird. Oh, there we go. Nom 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 nom. I love the updated graphics are so good. Updated graphics are so good.
Toilet switch.
Oh, is that a gimp suit? Is this American Horror Story? Hi, it's okay to be kinky. You don't have to kill me. You don't have to kill me. It's okay. I'm not judging you. I'm not yucking your yum, friendo. Oh. Just a few little mirrors. I mean, he likes to watch it. Fine. Alright, everyone. Welcome back. Pre-rolls should be off. You all didn't miss any gameplay. Authorized personnel only. A1, A2, B1, B2. A1 and A2 are red. Is that the same over here as well? It is. Alright. I'm gonna do one of those just for good measure because it's really dark over here and I'm scared of that thing. I'm scared of that creature. You're gonna like $500 round trip flights to Ireland. It's true. I know we said no international travel, but I just looked on a whim and the flights are way cheaper than I expected. Yeah, can I not? I can't go that way. We'll show you a good time. Oop. Listen, I have a problem, and that problem is not wanting to be where I am. Oh, that's the command center, right? That's where we came in at? It is. Okay. How do I find my way back out of here? Maybe I need to come here after I go through the other door. Oh no, this was the only door. Okay. Oh. Does it make a big circle? Let me go up this. No. Okay, at least this part's well lit. If the monster comes at us, we should be able to see him. If I'm back, I can check the latest section of the pause near at the bottom right. Oh! I did not realize that. I see it now. I wonder if like a little like a word here to indicate that you can click on it would be helpful. Dare Girls is pretty great. I just want to watch an episode of Dare Girls in the motherland, not Ireland. No, and Japan. Japan I think was gonna be a lot more expensive. But plus you all are going early in the year. Aren't you going in like April or May or something like that? Where we just paid for a big trip. I think we would struggle to turn around and do that so quickly. Thought this would reply to me and I was confused. Galway and downwards towards Carol on the coast. At Galway 100%. You create an itinerary for us. Oh, what is this then? Find the other part of the sticker. Oh, it was 47. I wrote it down. Okay, internal engineering documentation. John Miller, senior engineer. Also, can we get an exclamation point? Or I can do it really quickly. It is on Steam right now. Everyone should go and grab it. To properly initialize the A1 generator, it is necessary to follow a specific sequence and interact with the panel. The correct activation process ensures the system engages without errors or malfunctions. Identify the 4 buttons on the control panel. Each button is connected to an entry point via a corresponding cable. These cables can be observed through the window located in front of the panel, which will help in verifying the correct connections. Follow the cables to determine which entry points corresponds to each button. It's important to note that the buttons do not follow a left to right order on the panel, and so they must be activated in the specific sequence 4723. 4723. Ensuring that the correct entry point is engaged at each step. After pressing the final button, the generator will initiate its startup sequence. Verify that the system is running properly by checking the status indicators on the panel. Any deviation from the sequence may result in an incomplete activation or require restarting the process. Also, I'm leaving a sticker in the control panel in case someone forgets about this document. Okay. The north is, with some great areas to experience. Ireland's Dublin, Galway, Wild Atlantic Way, Donegal, Kerry. That's your spots. My family is technically, I did an ancestry test, so I know most of you know this. I'm adopted. I found my biological family. A lot of my family is from Dublin. Flying to Dublin, Belfast, no. I don't remember if Japan was wicked affordable when we went last year because the exchange rate is very good for the US dollar. Okay. Interesting. I think my boss, though, would probably destroy me. So, wait, 4723. Wait, was it a 47? There's not 7 buttons, I'm now realizing. So there's blue. So this panel's blue. Yellow goes to this panel. Wait, kind of looks like blue goes to more than one, though. I don't see red at all. Hi, Derek. Thank you for your daily Thwarpy. Welcome in. How are you? Thank you for the shopper. Derek, it's so expensive to fly to Japan from here. I think the flights are a lot more expensive to Japan than they are to Ireland for us from where we're at. It did say 4-7, didn't it? Okay, yeah, I didn't like that. Where's the red lights? Also, do these matter or just the cords we can see through the thing? 4, 1, 2, 3. Wait, hold on, sorry. Or it could be 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh wait, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2. Okay, we could just do oh. Hello? I was gonna say we could brute force it, and I think we did. Something's happening. Wait. This last one didn't light up all the way. Oh no, there it goes. Okay. Oh! Okay, the furnace is going now. What is happening? All the North has going for it is a boat that's saying sectarianism and arguably the best coastal route on the island, but you have to be in the North to drive it. So, man, it's a pain to live here sometimes. I'll trade you. You can have my house and everything. There's like music playing? The music is freaking me out. I don't really know why. Okay, the power. Ah! What? Not me hiding. What was that noise? Those fans are quite loud. Offices? Do we go to the offices? How do we get over there, though? Oh. Laboratories? Containment? Is this a Christmas tree? Where's Rin when you need her? Controls and testing? That's locked. Suddenly I'm filled with an overwhelming sense of pride of where I live. Is it because Aaron threatened to move me to Trump USA country? Maybe, yeah, probably. That would do it. That would do it. Offices. Oh, someone died here. Very brutally. Sorry, office worker. Do I have a current objective? No. We're just still exploring. Was there an office-wide Christmas party that ended badly? Is that the storyline? Oh, I can go in here. Why? Does that mean there's something in here I need? Objective. Find a way to turn on the generator. Okay. Facility issue log, James Poulter, upper offices A1 electrical. It seems that there's a lot of trouble energizing the security flashlight panel on the right of the main elevator that leads to the center. Without the panel, we won't be able to open the elevator for the employees before starting everything in the morning, and they'll have to go all around the security section to get down to the stairs. So it'll probably take around another 1 to 3 minutes to get to their places. Probably checking the power supply or calling the electrician to fix it. I don't know much about how it internally works. Otherwise, they could add some stairs nearby the entrance instead if some days the elevator doesn't work at all. That should solve it. So there are stairs if we go around to the security section and go downstairs. We can get downstairs that way. Okay. It is! Yeah, yeah. Don't take your Tylenol unless, I saw on Coop Stream earlier a very funny TikTok about that. I don't see... Oh, there's another one. Oh, it's locked. Oh, that's what we need the generator for. Is there a clue to the generator sequence somewhere? We could brute force it again. I know that's not what the dev intended, but we could do it. Okay. There has to be a note about, unless this is what we were supposed to do. Surely we're not supposed to go all the way downstairs. It's cool, but it's a bit of a pain. It's expensive to park it because of the National Trust change a lot. Plus, they then make it look like you have to enter the visitor center to access the stones, which costs more money. You don't have to. You can walk straight down, but parking is a bitch at it. That seems like deceptive business practices. Oh, there we go. What is this? The document provides a detailed procedure to activate the portable generator for the A1 upper office floor using a specific U-shaped pattern. Follow these instructions carefully to ensure proper startup and avoid potential hazards. Verify the generator is securely placed on a flat, stable surface. It's set a standard mode for clear visibility. Make sure the control buttons are on the off position. Confirm the generator output ports are not connected to any devices. Start at the top right. Bottom right, bottom... Okay, so it's a U. So it's just a U. Starting with top right. Top right. Okay. Can we use this now? Now what? Oh, the elevator's... Oh, nothing bad ever happens in an elevator, right? Nothing bad ever happens in an elevator. At a high-risk pregnancy, we have National Trust ownership, so it's free for us. So yeah, fucking hassle for visitors. Fair enough. At a high-risk pregnancy, so even though I was in a lot of pain, I refused to take any meds for most of it. I took paracetamol maybe 5 times in total, and omeprazole twice, even though my acid reflux was bad. I know they're both safe for pregnancy. I was just trying to control what I couldn't, so I had a little to control it in. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. If there are medicines that are safe for you that help you, you should take them. Oh, hello? Hello? Elevator music, anyone? Let's dance! Oh, yeah, we're dancing. Oh! That's not the creature. What is that? Keep hands and fingers within the gate. Okay. Hello? I don't like it. I don't like it. Whoa, that got real trippy when we're near this. I kind of like it. Everything looks all glowy and pretty. It really is a rave. Wait, hold on. Can we have the elevator music back? Elevator music plus this? We'd really be raving. Unce, 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 unce. Oh, yes! Everyone dance! Hi, Janie! It's a rave! Let's go! I can't hear Love Sensation anymore without thinking about Lydia Butthole Collins. I love you! Hi, Janie! Can we get a shot for Janie if we haven't already? And a clip shout out as well, of course. I hope you're doing well. I hope work is treating you better than it has been this week. I think everyone's had rough work weeks and rough weeks in general. Recently. Ooh, this painting is adorable. All of these are. I like these paintings. Oh no, we have Kawaii Daddy stuck on our screen. That was fun. I love that song. And one of the newer drag queens recently did a lip sync to it, and now that's all I can think of when I hear it. I really, really like Lydia, actually. I don't usually fall in love with the newer queens, but she is, why didn't it work? She is really, really special and sweet.
Who's in here? Who's in here?
Oh, there it goes.
That's probably
That's me.
I'm gonna turn my flashlight on.
No, Chris.
What's going on in lore?
Chris,
As soon as it
are
comes
you
over, I will
falling
tell you.
hard?
You fucking sandbagger. You fucking sandbag.
Did you die?
Yeah.
Did you die? This is Leanne and John, three of my favorite people.
hate you, Chris.
Three of my favorite
Why would
people.
you kill our main character?
Listen, Griswold.
Done?
Yeah. I
Janie
think
is
Chris
main character
dead.
energy.
Oh, I can't hear anything. It's so terrifying. Hold on. I'll make
No,
the...
she's still going.
Hit me! I need to sleep
She's
sometimes.
not-
Don't start
no,
bitching your butts are
she's
American.
not-
Have a
I'll
lovely
go-
rest of
I'll
stream.
go
No
wish for
worries.
life
Get some
right
good
now.
rest. You deserve
Listen,
it.
Chris.
Dream of me,
I wish
Skiddo!
die.
So basically, the owner of this hospital said that it closed down because of a gas leak. However, several children also went missing around the hospital around the same time as it closed. And so we're a journalist and we're here to see if we can uncover the story. And through different things that we've picked up, we found that the hospital was doing illegal experiments as well. And there's a creature running around trying to kill us that is obviously a product of one of those illegal experiments. And now we are trying to escape the hospital while still finding out more information about what happened. I think that's pretty much it, if I could be succinct. Emily Cooper, security. Is there one of those things in here? Why is this all trippy? Oh! Oh, there is one! Hello? Oh, you're breathing. I don't like you. You are scary. You are scary, dude. Goodbye. Can I close the door behind me? Yeah. No reason to go in there anymore. I'm assuming that these things are failed experiments. Or also some version of the experience. David Brown. We got a pipe problem in here, buddy. Mr. Brown. Doesn't seem to be anything I can interact with in here. But it gives an insight into some of the... Oh, like that. Into the people who worked here. What was his job title? It doesn't say, oh, labs. He must be like a lab technician. Okay. Into the electrical room we go. Oof, someone had it rough in here. Okay, there we go. What does this go to? Oh, dumb. read any of the old Rip newspapers. We have answers! Luminora's hospital's mysterious shutdown is solved. In a startling revelation, Harvey Orson, the founder, has disclosed that the recent closure of the facility was not due to a dangerous gas leak as previously reported. Instead, Orson admitted in an exclusive interview with the Weekly Listed News that the hospital shut down because we just stopped funding the hospital as it wasn't worth it. This unexpected admission has generated widespread controversy and suspicion within the local community. Following Orson's confession, local authorities have decided to adjust their investigation to the hospital's closure. Police Chief Williams Brandt stated, given Mr. Orson's admission of financial reasons behind the closure, we are reassigning our resources. The case will remain open but will be classified as a mid-priority due to its moderate severity. The decision has left many residents dissatisfied. Questions linger about whether the cessation of funding was genuinely justified or if an undisclosed factor contributed to the abrupt shutdown. Former patients and staff, particularly those who benefited from the hospital's renowned cancer treatment programs, are demanding greater transparency and accountability. The community's unease is further exacerbated by the recent disappearance of 3 children who were last seen near the hospital grounds. Although Orson has denied any involvement, his defensive and nervous responses have only heightened the public suspicion. In response to Orson's admission, many residents are conducting their own inquiries. Unable... I lost my place. Aiming to uncover the full extent of the hospital's financial troubles and any potential links to the missing children. The atmosphere in Luminora is tense as more questions emerge about the true state of affairs at the hospital. A candlelight vigil is planned for this evening, organized by former patients and staff to honor the hospital's contributions and to call for clarity and justice in this troubling situation. The community's determination to uncover the truth and hold those responsible and accountable remain unwavering. As the investigation takes a backseat, the future of Luminora Hospital's founder, Harvey Orson, is uncertain. The people of Luminora are united in their quest for answers, hoping to bring closure to both the financial mystery and the case of the missing children. What a strange hospital. I can hear the creature. You having a really terrible poo? Scary creature guy? Anything in here to interact with? Does not appear so. Alright. We're getting more lore. There's one of the failed creatures right there, I think. But so far, none of them have attacked us, so I don't think we have to worry too much about it. Chapter 2 won't have a whole Bible written. I'll make storytelling more comfy. I think it was funny, though, that my friend Beth was like, what's the lore? Which is a redeem we have. Oh, I don't like you! I don't like them! I don't like that they're breathing. Oh, it's so freaky. I love it. Leave me alone, though. You're scary. And then that kind of covered a lot of the lore. Flights are $190 each for 3 of us. Just to get to Dublin, so nearly $600 on that. Insane. That's not. I mean, that is a lot. That is a lot. I think we would have to spend quite a bit more to get to Dublin. Oh, are you breathing? No, you're not. Oh, no, you are. They're so scary. Wait. No, I didn't backtrack. Okay, a locked conference room. Perfect timing. Exactly. I agree. Chapter 2 is on Kickstarter now, right? Is that my understanding? If I remember correctly. I love the painting. Some of these are really pretty. This one's my favorite, though. This was in the room earlier. I really like this for some reason. Right. There's a dangerous creature running around, and I'm admiring the art. Oh. Instructional tapes, VHS 813, relation. Epoch Dynamics Inc., powered by Lumina Company. Lumens upgrade for the security flashlight. This upgrade increases the lumens that the security flashlight can emit during years. Here's an example of how to install the upgrade to your SF, your security flashlight. Okay. I see. This complemented upgrade will allow you to enter zones that require more lumens via the SF panels, those requiring from 80 to 120 lumens. The SF panels will display the required lumens for activation at the top of the panel. The following upgrades are designed to significantly enhance the performance of your security flashlight. With these enhancements, you can increase the light intensity of the SF from each level of upgrades provides a distinct boost in illumination, improving visibility and operational efficiency in critical situations. The bar at the bottom cuts off a little bit. Additionally, the color of the batteries will indicate the lumen level boost the upgrade can provide to the SF. So 90, 100, and 120. Currently the complements and upgrades are available in the control and testing area. The head of CNC will determine which level upgrade you will see based on your role within the company. Okay. Oh! Hello? Coop, I was just talking about you. And a funny TikTok that you showed us on your stream earlier. Welcome in, Wexy. Welcome in, Pooh. Welcome in, Derek and Callie. Thank you all for welcoming our raiders as well. And Kayla. Welcome in, Miguette. Hi, how are you? Hey, yo, we were talking about you. All good things. Tara, hello, my beloved. Hi, Raiders. Welcome, Raiders. Thank you for welcoming our Raiders. Welcome in, everyone. I hope you all are doing really lovely. Hope your weeks are treating you well. If you all don't know Coop, go follow Coop because Coop is hilarious. Even though I must say Coop's best moments on stream today was when they were completely muted. I need to hear of this. We were talking about Tylenol and autism. And that TikTok that you showed on stream earlier. Hi, Tara. Oh my gosh, it's the cat from K-pop Demon Hunters. I haven't actually watched it yet. I know. I'm going to watch it. It's on my list to watch it. Derpy. How did I forget the name Derpy? But everyone follow Coop because Coop is hilarious and amazing. If you all don't know me, I'm Velicron. I play mostly horror games. We also do occasionally dabble in an RPG, and a little bit more rare than that, we will occasionally jump into a cozy game. I'm queer, I have ADHD, and if anyone needs a raid and run, I totally understand. Sure takes a lot of energy, effort, and concentration, and when your community is trolling you non-stop, they're also giving all of their energy away as well. So if anyone needs to do anything but stare at a screen on Twitch, I totally get it. If you all would like to hang out, we are doing a sponsored stream today. The dev of the game is in chat. We are playing Shieven, which is about a hotel that had a mysterious circumstances around it, and we are trying to discover the truth, Ellen. We are journalists trying to discover the truth, and it's been really, really lovely so far. It's got several puzzles that have been really, really fun. And then we are jumping into another horror game, a 30-minute demo that we've also been given a key to by the devs to check out. I do have a raid video. It's really, really short. It's less than a minute long, but it'll give you an idea of the kind of craziness we get up to here. It is exciting. I really love it when devs are really involved in the streaming community. It's really, really fun. My only plug that I make about my streams right now when I get raided, a Coop-sized raid video. Boo! We're really close to 2,000 followers, which is our goal for the year. We're at 1,969, I believe, 1,968 maybe, on our road to 2K. If you do follow, we won't shout you out. If you're a lurker or if you're a chatter, we just want you to be really comfortable. But that's my one plug. We're trying to get to 2K by the end of this year, and we're so close. We're so close. You might see that it says 2K. That's because it rounds up. Which I wish it didn't do. I wish it didn't round up. Alright, so let me play that raid video really quickly, and then I will jump back into the game. Alright, I'll see you all in 58 seconds or something like that. Hello, young people of the internet. This is a VHS player. Oh no!
Is this what you want? Do you want these pubes? Do you want these pubes? Am I the goodest boy? Nicole Kidman's? She also has the clap, right?
Oh my god! Sean said I'm fine as hell. So there you go, y'all. Nom 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 nom. No, because I spent all my money on a fucking handy. I want your hand. I don't blame you. I haven't had any complaints yet. I love feeling your hands sliding up and down my feet and between my toes. If that's your girl, why shit on my slippery meat? Up this meaty ass. You want to see me put a warhead in my meaty ass? I am just a poor airbender. I gave up all my earthly possessions to meditate in a fucking temple, and you giving me your money. Yeah, hot. Yeah, raiders get free feed. Otherwise, it's 200 biddies. Otherwise, it's 200 biddies. Here are all my socials if anyone is curious. Mr. Mime escaped because no one likes that Pokemon. No one likes Mr. Mime. If you like Mr. Mime, you should check your hard. I mean, you should get your hard drives checked. Mr. Mime is creepy. Feet? Question mark? Always feet for raiders. Always feet for raiders. Ooh, okay. Don't love what I'm seeing in there. Oh, the breathing pillars of fleshy mass. Those are very creepy. Leave Sir Mime alone. I know. Mr. Mime is better than... Well, yes, that's true. Racist Jinx is the worst Pokemon of all time. Oh, I need the upgrade. Oh, God. I didn't even see that one there. Go away. Can we get in here? We can. Okay, so we need to upgrade our device. Fleshy. I do love me some flesh, but this kind of flesh it's not doing it for me. It's not doing it for me. It's very Hellraiser, though. It's very Hellraiser, which I do enjoy. I want to play the Hellraiser game on stream, but it is, like, wild. I mean, there's, like, nudity and everything. I was like, flights to Prague, and it's cheaper than Dublin. Ooh. Find Daniel Carter's office key. Oh, for CNT, that's right. That's where our upgrade will be. Prague is nice, too. I would like to go to Prague. So far, I can't interact with any of these. Oh, there's... Oh! Is that his key? It is indeed. And nothing tried to kill me. Oh. So is this like survival or... So basically, the owner of this hospital had it shut down really unexpectedly. He said it was a gas leak. However, then several children went missing around the hospital. And so the community was like, oh, I don't know about that. And then he went on to do an interview that said, it wasn't worth funding. It wasn't worth funding. We weren't making enough money. And so the community is like, I don't know if I buy that story, Mr. Owner of the hospital. And we're a journalist, and we are trying to find the truth. And there is... So then we also found out, as we traversed the hospital, that the hospital was doing illegal experiments, which is what's creating those flashy messes. But one of them is living and trying to kill us. That's basically what's going on. If Trish has a category for Hellraiser, we'll be able to play it. They will have it, or they said they will. But it is very intense. I'm afraid that other people will find it uncomfortable, but I want to play it. Oh, here we go. This looks like what we need. He was turning children into natural... Exactly. Children already smell like natural gas a lot of the time. Might as well turn them into it. Hello? Your security flashlight can now emit 100 lumens. Okay. So not 120, but 100. 100 is good. That's more. One of my favorite book sets is set there. Ooh, which book? Do we need to go back here? Wait, no. We need to go the other way, I think. Keep the bills low by using the kids' gas. It all makes sense now. Leave me alone. Okay, 100 lumens. Okay. Nope, I don't like it. Is the creature in here? Cafeteria, break room, security. Okay. Oh, that's right. The security has stairs that we can hypothetically use to exit. We gotta fall down that hole, don't we? We have to fall down that hole, don't we? Let's jump. Whee! Whee! Oh, that wasn't nearly as far as I thought it was. Oh, we're loading. Okay. Do you realize your device has a hemorrhoid cushion on the end? It's a utilitarian. It can use a flashlight, it can help with your hemorrhoids, and it can also scare the giant, horrible creature away from that's trying to kill you. I love a multifaceted device. It's amazing. Security is that way. Is the store locked? It's not. Oh, I see him! Oh, he's in there. I don't know if you all saw him. He was in the far back of this room. Get out of here, creature. Noted. Find hole, go in. Exactly. Any hole's a goal, right? That's what they say? And that's what people say. Not me, though. I've never had sex in my life. I am a Christian. I'm a Christian lady. Be gone, foul beast! 5 plus 6 minus 9 plus 2 minus 3. Oh, jeez. 11, 4, 1? Oh! Okay, it equals 1. So this one's 1. I can't interact with it yet. So that makes me think there will be more than one of those. Okay, can't jump across. It was just, yeah, this one's number 5. It was just, addition and subtraction. That was the only thing. There was no multiplication or anything. No long division. Oh, I think I can I cross here? Yeah, I can cross here. Okay. Turn something on, but what? Oh, we can just go further down that hallway now? Confirm. Oh. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So hold on, we have red. Wait, do we do it in order of color? Or in order of 5? Do we? Okay. 5, 2, 4, 3, 1. So do we just do it in order of red, green, yellow, blue, purple? Red, green, yellow, blue, purple? Big golfer. This is the last puzzle. The game is not over yet. This is the last puzzle? I'm usually really bad at puzzles. I feel like we've made pretty good progress. Not me, I swear. I'm definitely not turned on. This game is so cool. It's cool so far, better than the Aliens game. I wanted to love the Aliens game so badly. But I was so... Okay, I'm going to write the colors in order. I'm going to write red, green, yellow, blue, purple. Red, green, yellow, blue, purple. But I also think the math on it might have mattered as well. If the math matters as well, or if, okay, so it could be, yeah, what was the 11 minus 9? Oh gosh, you can see my brain furrowing. I'm thinking too hard. Okay, what's back here? There's something over there. Okay, there's one here. Is this yellow? That looks to be purple. How do we get to this other one, though? Oh, I see. What color is this one? Oh, it's green. Oh, and it has a 2 on it. Oh! Some of them are already numbered. Wasn't red numbered as number 5? Red was number 5. And it matches 5. green is 2 and matches 2. Okay. I'm confused. Okay, is that the door we need to go through ultimately? I guess we'll find out once we solve the puzzle. Okay, red. Okay, let me interact with it. Oh, the Aliens game. I really wanted to like it, but I found it more frustrating than I did. Oh, can you only interact with one at a time? I found it more frustrating than I found it scary. Okay, that worked. Love to see it. Okay, so we have to do one at a time. Red, green. Wait! Does this color matter? Red, green. Yellow's next anyway, and the light is yellow, so we're gonna do yellow next. Regardless. The jump scares and tension are good in that game. It is a really, really good game. But definitely, by the end of it, I was just so frustrated. I know that the alien learns your patterns and stuff, but yeah, I was just frustrated by the end. I still think it's a masterpiece of a game. I do genuinely still think it's a masterpiece, but the only game that everyone seems to love that I hate is At Dead of Night. My friend Hector, you recently played it and also hated it, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt vindicated. Where is yellow? And then the androids took so many hits to go down. If you had a bunch of freaking androids after you, you might as well just give up. Okay, yellow. Was that the HHO? No, it was the game that he played after that. Hi, Win1! I love you. Can we get a shout out for Win1, please? How are you? We were talking about you earlier. There was a Christmas tree in the game. And I was like, where's Rin? Okay, so that's still yellow. Okay. Do we do blue next? I'm itching to put mine up, but waiting. Go ahead and put it up. If it makes you happy, put it up. I'm not gonna judge you. I think we judge people for things when all those things are doing is making them happy. Pooh, thank you for your daily thwarpy. Wait, how do I get to that one? Nope, okay. How do I get to that one? Oh, I see. I didn't see that walkway before. You got derpy! Indeed. Rin, that's so cute too. Oh, we're clipping through the wall here a little bit. It doesn't break the game or anything, but we're definitely clipping through the wall a little bit there. It doesn't really matter to gameplay, but in case you wanted to know, yeah, I'm clipping through all these walls. I have more, but I don't have enough emote slots for them all. I am so mad. I lost emote slots after my emotes got reported. Okay, and then we know that the first one is the one all the way at the beginning. I lost emote slots. I was very frustrated. I felt really disheartened for a while. How powerful is your semen? I'm coming through all these walls. Please, Pooh. That shit, I'm sorry. No, talk me. I Angie. Those are quite cute. I've got to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I must watch it. I'm going to be honest with you all. Caleb is not interested in watching it at all. Which means that I would be watching it alone. Okay, I think you, right? No idea why you had to make me do math. Okay, if this one is not the correct one, then I'm assuming we'll have to do them all over and get the order right. But I'm feeling pretty good about the order. You said it! So many derpies in my... You have derpy subs? Should be easy to extort money out of the derpy subs then. You know? My hopes wasn't either, and now he loves it. I think Biggie said that they might do a Discord watch party. I'm so smart! But then they never did. Here's the thing, Alberto does not care at all about K-pop, and he loves K-pop Demon Hunters so much he wants to be there for Halloween, so I think Caleb would love it too. You are gonna tell Caleb then. Oh, I am here. I want a sussy emo? You should get a sussy emo. You have enough sussy people coming into your chat, that's for sure. Oh. The animations are so nice. This game looks amazing. I haven't seen it either. Sussy's from Demon Hunters. Oh. Ooh, look at this ladder. It'd be well used in chat, wouldn't it though? Wouldn't it though? So wait, are they both cats? Is Sussy also a cat? Should I get a Romy emote now that I have a cat too? Okay. Is there going to be another of those puzzles? This looks similar to what we just did. Sussy's a Raven-esque bird. Hello? Because I'm also not interested, so we can be hipsters together. It does look good. It does, doesn't it? A demon magpie? Wait, I love that. Hi, Anne. Okay. Ooh, flickering lights. I don't like it. I don't like it. Why are we flickering? Bay 4. That opened on its own and that's not sus at all? I'm scared of it. Like, who opened it? Alright, that's where we're going to go, though! I said hi earlier and you ignored me. Rin would never ignore someone on purpose. What was that noise? Can we not have creepy noises, please? Oh, it's just me running through the water. Bubs says, I had to record an episode of Black Mirror with OBS today for my students. Wait, really? What are you doing with your students at the Black Mirror episode? Which episode? Know that I've only seen like one episode. Bubs is being a demon Sasha boy for Halloween. I'm making an outfit for him. None of the pre-made ones come in such little sizes. You're making one? Can you share it? Now I'm scared Amazon is going to come for me. Never. Never. I would never! I'm sorry I missed it. Yeah. Rin is one of the sweetest people on this planet. They're going to jail for pirating. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't say it out loud just in case Amazon's watching. Ugh. Oh, we have options here. That one's covered in blood. Which kind of makes me think that's where I should go, though. Are those eyes? No, I think they're just lights. I'm getting very turned around. This looks like a... Oh. Okay, so it must be this way. It made a circle. Towards the blood. I love it. I love it. Oh! That scared me. I don't know why. Oh! 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 Hello? Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. Oh, I'm not. I'm not. Is he still following me? Oh, I don't see him anymore. Oh my god. It's the playtest episode of the video games. It's where I write about gaming classes. Oh, dude, they had that phone game you could play, right? I always wanted to play it and then I didn't. Wibblets. I think I have everything I need. Not about it now, but I have to sew it and stuff. Gotta get my craft on. Might make a starter this weekend actually. That will be really, really cute. Please share photos if you can. It's the episode you're literally in under your stage name, Rashida Jones. Please. We've been rewatching New Girl, and I have to say, I can definitely see you in Cece. I think you look more like Cece than Rashida Jones. I don't really see the Rashida Jones very much, but I do see the Cece. Is he still in here? Is he gonna chase me again? Because that was terrifying. I did not. I mean, I actually did love that. That chasing was fun. I'm surprised I did it on my first try, though. What is this? Oh, we can go. Oh. Oh! Please don't scream at me. The creature seems not to be able to hear, so stay away from any light source and escape. I don't see Rashida either, though I wish I could see Cece a bit more. I see Cece more than I see Rashida. Oh, gosh. Okay. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Please don't kill me. Oh, I kind of feel bad for him. Bless his heart. He wasn't fully formed correctly either. Are you in pain, buddy? I mean, it doesn't explain away you trying to kill me, but I do feel for you. I do feel sad for you a little bit. Bless your little heart with your little hooves on the front and not on the back. Your Ann Perkins sauce, especially my tropical fish. Oh, you little dude. Please don't kill me, though. How do I get past him? Ugh! Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, I think I need to go through there, dude. Could you please keep going that direction? Oh, or is it through there? Oh, he's looking at me. Did I do it? I saw what looked like two ways I could go. I chose this way because it looked easier. Oh, there's a... Is he gonna chase me through here? Oh! Did he see me? What was that? Oh! Frick! No! Alright, so I was gonna make a hat for Bubs that he can actually wear. Hi, Alex! Try to get my stream streak! Yay! Thank you for the shot for Alex. Okay. What did I do wrong there? What did I do that made him see me? Oh, I can't go this way at all. Okay, it's fine. Obviously, this is where I'm supposed to go. Okay. Oh! God, I even knew he was going to do that and it still scared me. It still scared me. We're going to turn down the sound just a little bit because the kill mechanic is a little bit louder than the rest of the game. Did I go into the light and I didn't realize? Because it says stay out of the light, right? You need to turn off the generator so the lights turn off. Oh, where's the generator? I just panicked and started running because I got scared. I panic ran. I panic ran. I think that's the first time he killed me, though. I did fall once in one of the areas. I didn't realize that it was one of the... Oh my god! He's so scary! It's exactly what I would do too. Well, yes! Okay. Rest in peace, please. Think of the rip.
Oh man.
Okay. Let's try this one more time. 2 more. Save for any light source. I didn't think I was in a light source, but maybe I made sound. I don't think I was crouched. I meant to be, but I don't think I was. You kind of have to go into like the center of the hallway where he is, though. Okay. Oh, you know what? Hold on. We're in pre-roll ads. We're in pre-roll ads. I'm sorry. I got really scared and didn't even notice, but yeah, we definitely are. So I need to run ads. I know they're annoying. I'm sorry, everyone. Thank you for sticking through them. But we want to turn pre-roll ads off so that when people first come into chat, they aren't immediately hit with ads and can't decide if they vibe with us or not. So let me get those done. This is a good chance to stretch, take a break, get something to eat or drink, get a snack, do all those things. And I'll see you all in 3 minutes. If you are subbed, you will see some random clips. I don't think so, though. Come on, butt plugs. Hi. Is the food ready, Ghostface? Oh my god. Why? What's your favorite shape of pasta? Well, I guess we are no longer friends with the toilet, which is kind of sad.
Oh my god.
Ah! I'm trying to read chat. Please.
I was looking at Panda's ass. Oh, thank you. What is
Panda's Dumpy is gonna get us all killed, is what I just heard. Okay.
What is the tent thing about? Why are there abandoned tents? Honestly, it was supposed to storm, but didn't. Well, no one saw that. No one saw that. Why? No, go back to... I love my Rin Rin sweater so much is it hides my titties really well. You can quote that for Rin Rin.
Nice.
Oh my god! Woo! My second ever. You love the shit? Thank you! I know everyone's like, shut up. It's a whole outfit. It's a whole outfit. I quite like it. Happy Pride indeed. I'm gonna be trying to wear like Pride related things all month. If I can. What? Okay, this is kind of an epic shot. Oh, I was gonna screenshot it. Did I gift that? No. So wait, did we do it? Is that GG's game over? Is that GG's game over? Are you seeing milk bones? Why? Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sitting through ads. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see if we can outmaneuver our scary friend here. Nope. Oh, The Fly. David Cronenberg mentioned in chat. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I got all the way through the first time, and now Now I'm struggling. Oh, he's so scary. Stay away from any light source and escape, and it can't hear, it says. Oh, but it can see. That makes sense. It says it can't hear. How did I do it the first time? I'm assuming I'm louder. Hey, Pokemon community game, rude. I tried to catch that gloom. There's no way through back here, right? No. He's got like a Deadlights kind of Pennywise from It kind of thing going on with his mouth and his eyes. Do I need to be braver and cross? There's a mission this week to catch Pokemon with normal Pokemon, so obviously it's all... Oh! I see, Amy. But then it turns around. Oh my god, dude! What did I do differently? What did I do the first time that was so successful? The kill gets me every time. It scares me every time. Please don't see me. I'm behind this bar. This bar will keep me safe, right? Maybe? Where is he? Oh! Well, I got to the generator, but at what cost? At what cost? Ugh. Okay. Ugh. Why does that get me every time? So scary. You need to go around the ceiling light? See the lights over there. I guess there's a light in that fan ceiling. That thing. That was terrifying. I thought for sure he was going to get me there. Oh, I do see it on the ground. Can you go all the way over there, please? Oh, thank you. Oh, I did hug this wall. I hugged the right side of the thing earlier. So that does make sense. No! Hearing footsteps always creeps me out so much. Aaron, Rin. Win one. Alright, what are you doing? I realized this was a Yes song until the other day. I love this song. Wait, which song? If he can't hear, then do I even need to be crouched? It just seems safer. Oh, the transition! Yes, yes, yes! I was like, is there music on? There shouldn't be. I was like checking Spotify. I was like, I don't see anything on Spotify. Okay, let's just get over here. I feel safe here. So far, this little spot's been fine. Oh! I saw way too much of your intestines there, buddy. I think I'm safe as long as I'm over here. No! Why? Oh, sweet Petey Jesus. Okay, this is the run. This is the run! I didn't even get to the generator there. He got me as I was going to the generator. Okay, this is the run. I still feel bad for the little dude. He doesn't look well. He doesn't look well. I'll just stay right here. To make that part more obvious, I've seen people struggle with this part. I mean, it's fun. It's like, you said it was towards the end of the game, so it's definitely amped the stakes. Oh! He's never gotten me when I was standing there before. Okay, but noted, my safe spot is not safe. I'm also very bad at video games. You all can do an extra point dingus if you would like. Okay. Death is too good for you? That might be true. That might be true. Was I standing? I think I was crouched. Don't look at me. Don't you dare look at me. Oh my god. You're so frightening. Oh, you got the zoomies. He has the zoomies. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No, 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 no. No need to growl. He's not lingering over here like he usually does. Okay. I need him to go all the way to the other end of the hall. Even though I don't even know if this spot's safe anymore, because he got me here once. Please don't. Oh god. Please don't perceive me. Why is he so mobile?
Damn, I keep...
Oh god. Okay. Oh my god. Hello? Please let me through here. Please let me through here. What the hell? Did I go the wrong way? Oh my god, I did. Okay. Hi, thank you for the thwart. Oh my god, Nova, hello. Can we get a shot for Nova, please? Oh god. Oh god. Oh! No, no, no! Do I go through here? Oh god. Oh god. Let me through! No! Okay. Music though. Oh! Ooh, the water effects are nice. No, 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 go! Oh my god! Please, 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 please! No, no, no! Hi, Nova! Hope you're doing well. Hope your week isn't treating you kindly. I didn't try to stop! I got stuck on something. Okay. Nice. I'm very thankful for this for the checkpoint. Is it this one? It is. Okay. I love the chase music. The chase music is peak. Ugh! That scares me every time. Oh, I see. That's... I had to go up the ramp. I missed the ramp. Okay. Just going where my eyes tell me to go. Oh! Oh! Haha! Amazing. Okay. We're good, we're good, we're good. Okay, okay, okay. Keep on running. Oh! Oh, okay. Hello? Oh, hi! Goodbye! Oh, I'm sorry. I think you could be rehabilitated. Do you want to go home with me? The chase music is superb. I feel bad for the poor guy. He seems like he's in pain. Even if he did try to kill me a lot. This stream is really neat too. Holy crap. Oh, hello? Epoch's Dynamics. Who's that Pokemon? I have a huge headache and neck pain for the hairdressers. This thing hurt me. Oh, that was the end. Oh, it's a Hakamoto. I don't know if I have one or not. Well, there we go. I see your name there. Do you ever stream as well, Byron? That was phenomenal. Look at your name just listed on everything. Bless your heart. You had a friend up with the story, though. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. The soundtrack was amazing. The creature was really amazing. The puzzles were challenging, but not too hard. As a person who gets stuck on puzzles sometimes, I was a little nervous, but I thought they were I thought they hit a really nice level of challenging to fun. There were a couple of times where the sound, like some things were louder than other things, even though like my volume is set the same. And that's to be expected sometimes, but just something to think about. And there's that one part of the map that I kept clipping through. But honestly, an amazing game. Is this your first game? I think it is, but if that's not true, I'd like to talk about your other games. But I think this is your first game, right? That was amazing. I'm gonna try to back Chapter 2. I enjoy this game. Me too, Amy. Me too. I used to stream it, honestly wasn't very much into it, but whenever I got enough time, I go back into it. Amazing, amazing. It is your first game. Yeah, that was phenomenal. I plan on backing Chapter 2. That was really, really nice. I got jump scared several times, but I like jump scares. I like jump scares in the game. That's why I play horror games. I really enjoyed that. I'm excited for Chapter 2. Can you tell us anything about Chapter 2? Is it going to follow the same storyline as far as the person who owned the hospital being horribly evil? Will it be set in the same town? You might not be able to answer any of those. Leave a review also. I will leave a review. I will. Yeah, I am a huge fan of that. Oh, wait, I missed an achievement. Take a picture of the bloodstains of the main hallway. I will have to go back and do that. I will have to go back and get that achievement. Let's start some music. What are we at? Oh, did I freeze? Chapter 2, in my opinion, far more better than Chapter 1. Thanks a lot. I will leave a review. I'm very excited. Now that I know more of a game development, I'll be able to do things I thought before were impossible. That's the thing, too. I really love following newer developers because as they keep putting out content and keep putting out games, you find that they just keep getting better and better. Not even the movement, the lighting, everything just looks like a whole new game. Hello? Are we living La Vida Loca? Okay. I'm actually excited to share more. I posted a few teasers on Twitter. I followed earlier. I'll have to go and check. Alright. Our next game is another game that I've been given a cue to by a developer. It's also their first game. It's set at a gas station that I believe is haunted. And it's going to be an anthology. So there's going to be different haunted locations throughout. But everyone go follow on Twitter, follow all the things. For the only thing that my sub badge is a purple dragon holding up your dad. Should I make that? But go follow Velicron Innovations on Twitter so you can also stay up to date. Wishlist the game on Steam and or buy it. Hello? Michael, hello. What were you up to? It's raining. Everybody look busy. Tell me all about your stream. What were you up to today? Welcome in. It's good to see you. We just completed Shieven, which was a really scary and fun game. The creature design was amazing. What were you up to today? If you don't know Michael is so sweet, so funny. Plays a lot of retro games, but plays a lot of other stuff as well. Go and follow if you don't already know Michael. Thank you so much for playing. It's been fun watching you and other streamers try it out. I'm really grateful for the chance to share my game with you all. Thank you, and thank you for connecting with the Crypt community and the Crypt stream team. We really appreciate you so much. We appreciate when the devs want to share with us. As a community of horror streamers, we have a lot of people in our circle, so we appreciate you as well. Another night of saving Gotham and Batman Arkham City. How did it go? Michael, I was watching Michael play Arkham City the other day, and I forgot how difficult parts of that game could be. But welcome in. If you do not know me, I am Vela Baron. I play mostly horror games on stream, occasionally a JRPG or RPG, and even more rarely, we will play a cozy game every once in a while. I'm queer, I have ADHD. If anyone needs to rain and run or do anything besides be on screens or be on Twitch, I totally get it. I'm gonna have to go sleep now. It's 1 a.m. here already. Good night. No worries! Absolutely get some sleep. Absolutely get some sleep. I have some people from the UK and who regularly decide to not get the sleep they need. Looking at you, Amy, I love you. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. I'll give you a follow as well, so if you do end up streaming again, I'll be able to catch one. But I appreciate you. But yes, I'm feeling queer of ADHD. If anyone needs to read it, I totally understand. But everyone follow. It's a lot shorter. It's not a full game. It's just a demo before pre-release.
There we go. And then that should take me to... Oh, shit. As long as it doesn't run out, because it's got a short lifespan. There we go. I was right. Oh!
Platformers, I'm horrible at them. Chat, I die a lot. So do I, apparently. So do I. Everyone go follow Michael, seriously. Michael's a really good friend, and I really appreciate him. So we go play this raid trailer, and then we'll get into our next demo. I keep saying next demo. We'll get into the demo, as well. Hello, young people of the internet. This is a VHS player. Oh no!
Is this what you want? Do you want these pubes? Do you want these pubes? Am I the goodest boy?
Nicole Kidman's? She also has the clap, right?
Oh my god! John said I'm fine as hell. So there you go, y'all. Nom 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 nom. No, because I spent all my money on a fucking handy. I want your hand. I don't blame you. I haven't had any complaints yet.
I love feeling your hands sliding up and down my feet and between my toes. If that's your girl, why shit on my slippery meat? Up this meaty ass. You want to see me put a warhead in my meaty ass?
I am just a poor airbender. I gave up all my earthly possessions to meditate in a fucking temple, and you giving me your money. Alright, everyone, I'm gonna hit play on this. Obviously, I wasn't already capturing it, so I'll have to set it up here in a second. I have not opened this game before, so if the sound volumes are not at a level that is pleasing to your lovely ears, please let me know. We did get this key through Keymailer as well. Thank you, Keymailer. Appreciate you. Yeah, let's get into it. Maybe. There it is. It's not wanting to capture immediately. There we go. All music in this game is copyright free. Nice. Don't have to worry about that. As always, we look at settings first. FPS limit set to 6. Vertical sync disabled. We'll turn brightness up just a little bit because I know you all have to also see it. There's a VHS effect. There is a silent screamers mode. I saw this earlier. If you don't like jump scares, you can turn them off. You can turn off the jump scares and still experience the story and the atmosphere of the game. Gonna lurk in D-stream. Once again, thank you. I appreciate you. Go and do all the self-care after stream. I totally understand. I'm hearing music, but it's not showing up. There we go. It's quite quiet, actually. Oh, that's sound volume and music volume. I'm gonna turn music volume all the way up because that's quite quiet. I'll turn it down a little bit. I wonder if the lobby music is different than the in-game music. We'll try that for now. I don't see a whole lot of accessibility settings necessarily, but maybe they're not needed. I really like the atmosphere of this already. Yeah, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4 coming soon. A series of short horror episodes where the mundane work routine collides with paranormal threats. Each episode is a separate, unique story lasting 1.5 to 2 hours. Let's do it! Ooh, I like this Presents title card. This is very nice. Oh, I'm on a boat! Hello? Can I fish? This story happened in 1998 when I was 25. Thank you, Amy. I kept it a secret because it was so insane people would think I was crazy. Wait, do we live back here? Is there like a house back here? That's somehow my friend Michael convinced his boss to hire me despite my past. He was a mechanic at a gas station near the city. That's how I started. Working night shifts. For me, it was salvation. Shortly before, I'd been fired from the factory and I was barely making ends meet. Okay, nice little backstory for our character. This is so pretty. In those days, only fishing called me. The ripples on the water and the silence around put my thoughts in order. I was glad that Ernie, the boss, who had owned the station since the late 70s, let me stay in the break room. I love the visuals here already. Back then I thought the worst was behind me, but I didn't yet know what nightmare lurked in those woods. Ooh. Oh, we have diverging paths here a little bit. What happened if I went over there instead? I'm on a boat and it's going fast. I got a nautical theme past Shima Afghan. Please, Rin. I haven't thought of that in forever. September 18th, 1998, Ohio. That's much too close to me. It is louder in-game than it was in the lobby. The shift starts in 15 minutes. I should probably have a snack first. Honestly, a vibe. Hello? Forest Lake. Oh. Lake White, the only one around here. The river that flows to the city starts here. Are anyone having sex in their vehicles? That's Michael's car. If I hadn't been fired, I would have saved up for one myself. Hello, man on a phone. There's a Larvesta in chat if anyone needs one or would like to catch one. Don't bother me, I'm busy. Okay, sheesh, my bad. Hey, oh, hey, Dan, so how's the catch? Not a single bite. Come on, bro, what happens? I left a burger in the fridge for you. Go eat and relax. Thank you. That's very kind of you. That Pokemon sounds icky. I actually think it's quite cute. That's the fire bug, right? No entry. It's probably the break room then. The burger should be in the fridge. That's a huge burger. What the heck? This is a Wendy's freaking, what do they call their burgers? The Baconator? It's a Baconator. There's an exit through here. This is all I brought with me. When did you set it there? I didn't set it there. Cornflakes. Alright. Oh, I don't love the eating sounds. Press G to throw? Why am I throwing the plate? Can I just gently set it? No, I can't gently set it down. I have to yeet it. It evolves into Volcarona, which is a big fire moth. Yes, I love Volcarona. Volcarona was very cool. AKA Mothra. This is making me hungry. That burger is huge. These apples? This bread looks nice. Alright. He bought me a $12 burger. That was very kind of him. Hello. Good evening. Where are you headed? Just heading home. I like stopping by after work. My wife always asks me to buy canned salmon here. So you're a regular customer with us. Canned salmon is to the right of the entrance next to motor oil. Next to motor oil? Lately, people seem to be withdrawing cash more often. Hey, Dan, there's a car outside. It needs about 5 gallons of gas. I'll help. Oh, you're the rude guy. Maybe I don't want to help you. It's fine. Hello? Where the hell do I put gas in your vehicle? Wait, am I dumb? Where is it? Wait, is it this vehicle that needs gas? No? What? I'm so confused. Need to refill the car outside. I'm trying. Where does it go? Are cars different in the 80s in Ohio? I see the for this vehicle, but it wouldn't let me interact with it. Guys, we really need an exclamation point dingus in chat now. I'm so lost. Check the license plate. Oh, that's why it's glowing. Jesus, Beth, what would I do without you? What would I do without you? I made $7. Yeah, get out of here. You were rude anyway. Okay. I would not have known that. I feel a little silly, but yeah, that was confusing. I'll be back soon, sure. First, grab a paper bag at checkout. Please keep these items updated. Bread, fish, fruits, canned food. $27? Thanks to else, guess what I got? So many tips today, just a bit more of enough for an RV. That's cool, will you show me later? Of course, bro, but my shift's over now, so I'm heading home. What's that case in your hands? I just found a little thing about the lake today, don't mind it. Alright. If it's weed, that's fine with me. By the way, I'll temporarily put the case in the garage, just don't tell the boss, alright? Alright, I won't say anything. Thanks, Dan. I left your hot dog in the fridge. Why does this guy just keep feeding me? Baco's a mess, but not dumb. I hope he knows what he's doing. Still, what's in that case? I don't know, but I guess I'm gonna go eat a hot dog. I should mop the floor. There's a toilet. Oh! What? I heard the sloppy sounds and I did not realize. Oh my god! Don't mind me. Get back to it. I can't open it? No, open it. Those sounds are... Can you hear those sounds? That is not what a blowjob sounds like. That is not what a blowjob sounds like, you all. What are you actually doing in there? She was on her knees, though. That was crazy. I was not expecting that. If they were really nice customers, they would have let me watch. Alright. Look at me mopping. I'm such a good employee. Is it broken? Well, I don't know. One of my classmates, why is it whispering? Some of the older cars had flip-up license plates with a gas cap inside. One of my classmates were going to ski and outdoors, so apparently he had to go break up a couple people doing things in one of the tent displays upstairs. Well, that's absolutely insane. Well, bye you all. I hope you are feeling satisfied after being in my establishment. So I have to pack my head home from work, but have a fun rest. No worries. Thank you for being here, Callie. I appreciate you. Have a safe drive. Everyone follow the Sly as Fox streams if you aren't already. I'm sure you are, but please go ahead. You've chosen a dangerous job, young man. Sitting here at night, you know, takes courage, especially in light of recent events. What events? The area has become restless. It's not a good sign. Not good at all. Okay. Hills have eyes. Goodbye. Get in your car and please leave. Respectfully. There's a phone booth. The old man seemed strange to me, and at that moment I paid no attention to his words. Our town had always been a quiet and peaceful place where people knew each other since childhood. Since my shift had just started, the next few hours, I just did my work without worrying about anything. But soon I realized that the old man's warnings were not unfounded. Doo-doo? Oh, someone's watching us from the brush over here. It would seem. Are you all gonna go do awful things in my bathroom as well? Should we go see if they left a mess in the bathroom? I don't want to eat right now. Okay, well, fine. It looks pretty clean to me. I guess that means she swallowed. Ugh. Hi, what can I do for ya? Good evening. Did you get me a soda? We have already got you cookies. You won't burst, right? No. I thought you were on a diet. I'm telling you, it's a ghost. Ever since the old church closed, it started. Ghost? Seriously? People don't vanish because of spirits, Jessica. It's a maniac. The killer just got out of prison. What was his name? Have you even seen the news? Zero evidence, Sarah. Zero. At least sectarians. My grandfather saw someone wandering on his cornfield. Oh, forget it. Listen, guy, what do you think? Probably wild animals. Did anyone get hurt? 3 people have gone missing this week. They vanished without a trace, as if someone or something took them. No, I haven't heard. We're hurrying home. Please serve us. Okay. Goodbye. Oh, there's a shop. I can buy a gun? Now I understand what that strange old man was warning about. Okay. What now? However, I couldn't influence it, so I decided to start arranging the goods on the shelves. Oh. I want to know what's in that bag that our friend left us. Alright, whatever. I guess we're going to go to the shelves. Do some stocking. What needs arranged? I guess technically that does, but it's not letting me interact with it. Oh, I see. Got some fresh water for you. This is just supermarket sim, but scarier. What's this? 0 sugar energy drinks? Party. Hi, friendo. I recognize that username and follows here are anonymous. If you need to lurk, feel free to lurk, but it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope your week is going well. Hello? I didn't know you streamed. Hi, Space. Welcome in. It's good to see you. I do indeed. Oh, that really got me. That really got me. How can I help you? My car takes a long time to start. Maybe the contact is acting up somewhere. Do you happen to have a wrench? I'll go get it. But first I gotta put these up. Jesus! Welcome in, Space! Luckily I know you watch some horror streamers. Who Who's opening the garage? Oh, I hear the whispers again. Oh, we are so haunted. Okay, bye. Bye, ghost. Where did the guy go? Did he go back to his car? Jeez, that terrified me. Lately the machinery seems to have gone crazy. It keeps breaking down. This month, more machines work at my work than in the whole last year. Do you work somewhere nearby? I'm a shift technician at the uranium plant south of here. I maintain the equipment. Oh, I see. Familiar place. So you're the guy who was fired last month? No wonder your face looked familiar. Yeah, that was me. I worked as an operator's assistant. And why were you thrown out? During my shift, uranium cylinders went missing. It's not hard to guess who was blamed. But I didn't do it. Who needs uranium syndrome? God knows. They thought I carried them on my back and fired me. Maybe it's for the best. Lately, things there have been weird. People have started acting strange, as if they were replaced. And those disappearances? Yeah. By the way, what's your name, guy? Just Dan. Nice to meet you, Frank. Drop by any time if your car keeps acting up. Leave it with us. Michael will fix it quickly. Alright, bye, fella. Can I cross the street? I can. Someone was watching us from over here. Oh, but I can't go any further than that. Okay. So people are being body replaced at the factory. Even back then, I suspected something was off here. I guess we should need to return the wrench. I decided to take out the trash. Okay. Where's the trash? The garbage bags are somewhere in the storage. Okay, got it. Where's the dumpster? Wait, where is the... Oh, okay. Nice! I need a sweet treat. My blood sugar is dropping. Well, if your blood sugar is genuinely dropping, then yes, please go get a sweet treat. Please take care of yourself. What is attacking this game? We don't know yet. Something is watching me from those woods, though. Oh! This forest makes me uneasy. So far, the biggest jump scare was from a customer. There have been some power outages. I don't want to be left in the dark at the worst one. I should buy a flashlight soon. Okay. Hello? Platt, how are you? Welcome in, friend. It's good to see you. Let me if you aren't already. A lovely, lovely friendo, really calm and good and positive vibes there. You will enjoy being in a Plaid stream, I promise you. All right, rate a video time.
Hello, young people of the internet. This is a VHS player.
Oh no! Is this what you want? Do you want these pubes? Do you want these pubes?
Am I the goodest boy? Nicole Kidman's? She also has the clap, right?
Oh my god! John said I'm fine as hell. So there you go, y'all. Nom 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 nom. No, because I spent all my money on a fucking handy. I want your head. I don't blame you. I haven't had any complaints yet.
I love feeling your hands sliding up and down my feet and between my toes. If that's your girl, why is she on my slippery meat? Up this meaty ass. You want to see me put a warhead in my meaty ass?
I am just a poor airbender. I gave up all my earthly possessions to meditate in a fucking temple, and you giving me your money. Welcome back, everyone. And yes, Raiders do get free feet. Otherwise, it's 200 biddies to see those feet. But seriously, Plaid, I appreciate you. IQ test. What's in the folder? Wish list on Steam. Oh, that actually opened. That actually opened Steam. That's so funny. I don't know what I expected, but I have $49. I should probably wait though. Oh, all these other things are already sold. The package should already be on the porch. That is some fast delivery. I hope those delivery people are getting paid well. After buying the flashlight, I felt much calmer and decided to go eat while no one was around. Alright, let's go eat our hot dog. I'm putting phallic foods in my mouth and no one look. No one look. Or yes. Oh, I hate the eating sounds. I hate the eating sounds. Oh, it landed directly in front of the TV. I'll take it. Oddities are increasing. At that moment, I still didn't fully understand what kind of adventure Michael had gotten into, and that I'd have to deal with all of it. Oop. Oop. Alright, well, let's get into it. There's gonna be another big jump scare soon, I can already tell. I can already tell, because that first jump scare got the hell out of me. We all are perceiving Night 2, September 19th, 1998. September 19th? I was awakened by the faintest sound. Oh gosh. What if customers had come in? I'm just sleeping? Oh, I'm at home. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm still at work. At first, I thought I was imagining it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, our door is open. Someone is in here. I don't like it. Someone's in the store. Who is this? Oh, someone's going in right now. There's background noise. We all saw someone just go in the store, right? I don't like it. No, 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 no. Someone just getting sloppy in the bathroom again? Because if so, I can handle that. Oh, it's whatever's in that bag. What is this? Oh! What happened to you? Why are you covered in blood? Oh, no, 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 no. There's two of them now? Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Okay. That is the end of the demo. That scared the crap out of me. I'll give you that. I will give you that. That is a pretty good demo. I would like to play the rest of that. I would like to play the 2-hour version of this. Cute little family. Yeah, so cute. Ooh, I really want to know what's happening. I would like to know what's going on. The demo did exactly what it's supposed to do. I am very, very interested in it. I'm very, very interested in the story. We're a couple minutes earlier than, oh, disclaimer didn't work, but I did get a free key of this from Keymailer. We're a couple minutes, so go wishlist Herror gas station case. Herror is the developer, and there will be other cases added in more haunted locations at a later date. We're a little early for, pre-roll ads, but only by like 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and run those ads. I'm going to go check in with Caleb. And then we may jump into Final Fantasy IX for a few minutes. Or we might jump into another horror demo. But I've completed all the things that I needed to do as far as being gifted and telling people that I would create content on their games. So I'll see everyone in just a few minutes. If you're subbed, you will see random ads. If not, I apologize. But this is to get pre-roll ads off, so when people come in for the first time, they don't immediately hit with ads. Again, follows are anonymous. I'll see everyone in a couple minutes.
That's so much of cream. My eye is glued shut. Wait, I feel like I've been in this experience. Don't act like you have. Okay. Not the bukkake. Not the bukkake. Okay. That is so much whipped cream. I'm covered in whipped cream and googly eyes. What the hell? I like how this kind of caught a lot of it. No! Arya, leave me alone! Caleb, come get the dog! Arya! Caleb, can you come get Arya for real? Look at her ear! Come here. Oh my goodness. She's so cute. She's so stinking cute. I'm obsessed. Don't tell your sister. Oh, big yawn. Oh, I can't remember where I saw that fishy box now. That was not meant to be a pun or a joke. Oh, is that a gimp suit? Is this American Horror Story? Hi, it's okay to be kinky. You don't have to kill me. You don't have to kill me. It's okay. I'm not judging you. I'm not yucking your yum, friendo. Oh. Just a few little mirrors. I mean, he likes to watch himself. Honestly, it's fine. Raul, if you ever see this, I love you, and I want you to inseminate me. Is he in a game? I don't know. He could do the rest of the show, though. He could just do the rest of the game show.
These are the nominees for Best Narrative.
Best Narrative.
Best Narrative. Hugo was always worried that it would start all over again. He doesn't deserve
I know what he can narrate.
The golden...
Yeah, KP made it.
Yeah, watch out.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, over there. Okay, I thought it was over there. I thought
Yeah.
you would move
Oh!
Right there, and then right
Don't
here
slip
where I
off.
am,
Don't
there's
slip
another
off.
one above you.
Wait, where am I going now?
Right to me.
Oh, no!
Oh my god, the no of Aaron going into the distance was very funny.
No, now we don't have the bugle!
Oh shit.
Hi, guys.
Well, there he is.
Yeah, I'm dead.
Okay, it's
Hi,
okay.
guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
buddy!
you
Oh
dead.
no.
Why is
Hey.
the
Aaron.
Yeah, we shouldn't go in there now.
Oh. How? Oh no!
Oh, it's a baby.
No!
Oh, you finally got to see the baby.
Oh
It bites, so be
no! Do we kill the baby?
You have to.
Ah! Shinji!
What do you mean?
You have to. It'll attack you.
Welcome back, everyone. I chatted with they needed to be over here. We've been through this. We have been through this. Oh! Hello, Kong! Thank you for the 10 biddies. What the heck? And thank you for that follow. Follows here are anonymous. Whether or not you want to be a lurk or chat, we just want you to feel comfortable, but I appreciate it. Welcome in. Welcome to the Veil. Yippee! Nova, thank you for being here as well. Everyone follow Nova if you aren't already. So I did a lot of grinding off stream. Not a lot, just a little bit. I stole a bunch of tents and a bunch of potions from the creatures in this area. And now we're gonna go fight the boss of this area, and it should be really easy, hypothetically now. But I would like to get to a point where I can hypothetically grind off stream again. All right. We stole our potion. And now we will just attack. Boom, 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 boom. I made veggie soup last week and butternut squash soup this week. Butternut squash soup is amazing. 10 out of 10. Yeah, so stealing potions and getting potions from drops. We now have 64 potions. That's insane, but amazing. I was also scared I had COVID after our trip. But I didn't test. I should probably test. There's a Pelipper in chat. Because again, it never got bad. And even if I had it, work still makes you go in and just mask now anyway, so. Alright, we stole a potion from him. Nice. My always already got COVID, but it's very mild if it is. My students are coming to class, like, actively sick. Of course they are. My student yesterday was sweating from a fever. I was like, you need to leave immediately. That is insane, Rin. Why? That's incredibly irresponsible. That's scary. That's bad. Like, that's bad. I'm so sorry. I don't think there's anything we can do with this Moogle right now. We already read this one. But I don't think we read the other one. Hello? Oh no, it's stuck. Oh, there we go. Prince on a white horse. From Cuba to Monte. I think we brought us. Oh, we did this one too. We read that one too. Alright. We'll save. Meet of the student. Wait, that's amazing. I don't remember this emote. Is it new? Or am I just a bad friend? That's so cute. The little magpie with the knife. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, whatever. Bye, Kupo. One of the creatures here, you can still tense from, which has been really nice as well. This creature, you can still tense from them. Nice. Okay, let's use some of our items here. And you all need eye drops. Oh, no, you don't. Zidane doesn't need eye drops. Alright. This is my fave one. I've been waiting for them to get approved. Like the K-pop Demon Hunters emotes too, but it's in like 2 freaking days so far and only one got approved. Why is it so slow, I wonder? That one is funny. I like that one a lot, Amy. Okay. This is the master. Princess! You stay out of this. Alexandria, the disgrace of a mere bandit, should rescue the princess. You think you can handle him on your own? Alright, we gotta steal shit from him first before we kill him, though. We must. The music is so good. Like, what the heck? So pollen blinds everyone. Oh shit. I deserve that though. So Iron Helm. Doesn't have anything. Okay. It's so cute. Oh, that's gonna hurt a little bit. 117 damage is crazy. Woo, I made it just in time. Step aside, I'll take care of this. Hi, Blank. Let's use fire here. Hi, Arya. Easy. Easy. No one even leveled up. Alright, that's fine. I need to close that door. I need to close that door. Princess, get a hold of yourself. She's showing our house to the world, Miss Arya. What are you doing there, huh? You're so cute. You're so sweet. The cat is screaming, just so everyone knows. The cat is like, why haven't you fed me yet? The Dane, give her the stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. We have the antidote. Hack. Oh, that's supposed to cough. Princess, please try to drink all of it. Is she gonna be okay? Oh man, what now? Oh yeah, the little ones. Jeez, we're gonna be surrounded. Let's get out of here. I think we could have taken them. What are you waiting for? I think we could have taken them. All right. We're gonna find out, apparently. It's an orb. We're gonna use a potion on VV. Let's see if they have anything besides ore before we just take them out. A potion. Oh my god, what else could it possibly have? Oh my god, what could it possibly have? Okay. I'm over it. We're just gonna kill them. Something's wrong. What? The entire forest is coming after us. Blink, take care of everyone. Oh, Zidane is actually really cute. What did he mean by that? Cute! I'm so excited for playing this. Come on, Zidane, you can do it. Nice, Zidane. I didn't really remember this very well. We killed that thing and the force became petrified. And so did Blink. Spoiler alert, the character named Blink couldn't even get a name. Doesn't make it. Damn it! That idiot! Blink. Does that mean that the Muga that was in there also got turned to stone? I hope she gets well soon. This is all his fault. Have you nothing to say, you filth? Oh. Princess! Steiner? How did I survive? You brought me here? It is my sworn duty to protect you at any cost. What are you talking about? It was Vivi's magic and my dagger that got you out of there, princess. I thank you both. That monkey deserves no praise. None of this would have happened if you and your band hadn't abducted the princess. And how dare you claim that you have rescued her? When we get back to Alexandria, I will. Steiner, I left the castle of my own will. What a coincidence, eh? We went to snatch her, and she wanted to be snatched. Impossible! It's true. So what do you say, Rusty? Friends? Come on, let's just enjoy this camping trip while it lasts. Camping? You imbeciles, surely even you must know something about the mist. The vicious monsters it spawns. The abnormalities it stirs in the mind and body. Princess, we must leave this dangerous place at once. You've got to be kidding. She hasn't even fully recovered yet. Silence. Who asked for your opinion? Alright, tell me, how do you plan to get out of here? We're standing in a valley surrounded by tall cliffs, and last I heard, North Gate and South Gate were sealed off. Why does it need to know so much? Yeah, that's what I thought. Grrr! This princess can barely walk right now. You went through this. You should know. I think we should rest here for now. I will never follow you, Steiner! State your sworn duty. What else? To protect Princess Garnet till Alexandros. Very well. Until the princess recovers, I will guard this place with my life. Sounds good to me. Vivi, let's get some rest. How long will he last? How are you feeling? Good, thanks to that medicine you gave me. Could this be? Yeah, I was surprised too. I'd read that big plant guy, the forest got completely petrified. Vivi told me that we were able to escape because of your friend. His name is Blank. We must go help him. We can't do anything for him right now, but I can't. We'll come back for him. I'm sure there's a way to cure him. Let's get going. According to the map that Blank gave me, there's a cavern to the south of us. Maybe we can get above the mist to that cavern. Are you alright? Everything's gonna be fine. Trust me. Look! There's someone coming! Wait, Kupo! Oh, so Monty made it. Monty made it. I'm impressed, Kupo. First time I've seen anyone escape from Evil Forest. You all must be strong, Kupo. But don't get cocky, Kupo. Lots of stronger monsters ahead. Before you go out to the world, Moxter will teach you a few things. There's an active time event. Teach me, Moxter. Lesson 1. Oh, this is where Kino lives. Hey, bro, what are you going to teach you today? There's a star you in chat if anyone needs one. I'd like to catch one. Lots of neat stuff. You're going to love this lecture. Save Moogles. You can find our buddies everywhere in this world. Talk to them. There's so many problems they can handle. Oh, okay, I got it. Nothing. I don't want to know anything else. Let's just move on. I have a gift for you, Kupo. Take this flute. Oh, I can hit B and summon whenever I'm in the overworld. With this flute, you can call us anywhere in the world, Kupo. Press B to play it. Happy trails, Kupo. Thank you. Kupopo! Bye. Kupo! They're so cute. What the? Who goes there? Oh, he was asleep. Your friend's already left, Kupo. Princess, wait! Exit, enter buildings, or ride a vehicle, call Moogle, toggle navigation map, camera control. So we're in the overworld now. There's an ice cavern, of course. The ice cavern's where we technically need to go next. Iconic! Alright, well, shit. We got another potion. Alright, so I really just wanted to make it through that boss fight. So we'll save here. And we'll make our thank yous. How do I... Is it in configuration? It is. Alright, perfect. This was supposed to be a horror demo day only, but I figured since we ended early, we could do that boss fight in Final Fantasy IX and get to the overworld. So yeah, perfect. If you are new here, if you're lurking and you are thinking about follow, I'm Bale Aaron. I play mostly horror games. We also occasionally play RPGs or JRPGs, and every once in a while we play a cozy game. We're live usually Monday, Thursday, Friday, unless work changes my schedule. Follows here are anonymous. You won't be shouted out if you would like to follow. But thank you for the follows today. Kong, thank you for the 30 bits. The Platinum Lounge, I said Plat. Plat, thank you for the raid. Michael, my friend, thank you for the raid. Cooper, my friend, thank you for the raid. Thank you all for your daily dwarves. Thank you all for redeeming stuff. Beth, thank you for the continued support. Brett, thank you for the 20 bits. I love you, my friend. Callie, thank you for the continued support. Thank you for the offline follows. There was a couple of you. I appreciate you. We will look for a quick raid target. And then we will see about where we can go. I will be live again tomorrow. Tomorrow we are playing what did I put on the schedule? Oh, we're playing Dead Take. We're playing Dead Take. I could hypothetically finish that in one stream if it goes perfectly, and if I don't chat forever in the beginning, if I don't yappa jibber jabber in the beginning. So we'll see. We will see. I will not be reading into someone playing Silent Hill F. Just a heads up, it won't be happening. Because I am excited to jump into that game with you all later. Ooh, I saw I'm playing Trails in the Sky. I saw I'm playing Stardew Valley. Ooh, I saw I'm playing Dragon Quest. I saw I was just chatting. Everyone's playing Silent Hill F. Everyone. What is Nikki playing today? Nikki is so funny. Nick at Night? I never get to raid Nikki. So we might go see Nikki. Our friend the nerd Nikki is a member of the Fruities, a VTuber, very hilarious, very funny, very sweet. Unhinged and unfiltered is correct. So we'll go there, grab whichever raid message you prefer. I do realize I still need to fix that raid message. It's fine. Bye, Brad. I love you. I miss you. There's Nikki's shit. I'm missing with you in person, I mean. There's Nikki's stuff if you get left behind. She is, like I said, she is a fruity, which means queer and lovely and funny. OBS chat has been acting crazy recently. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here. I love you, Winwan. I love you, Amy. I love you, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow with another horror game. So until tomorrow, I'll see you all on Discord and stuff as well. But until tomorrow, I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next time. Let me get that raid started. Also, Nikki lives on a farm. Ask about her farm animals. She'll love it. Alright, goodbye everyone.
bread at home. That is my dad's son. That is food. That is being fulfilled. And honestly, we're gonna have to ship bread to America and then, like, walk with just